Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD and I'm coming at you guys with the next game of ATN Socke versus a TSL Killer in this Protoss versus Protoss series. Hope you guys enjoyed the last game, by the way. I certainly did. It was refreshing to see a Protoss versus Protoss. It's like drinking a fresh glass of water because I've been casting so many Terran versus Zergs. I know. And I promise you guys I haven't been picking them out because I wanted to cast TVZs, although I love the matchup. It's just that the best names somehow always end up playing in Terran versus Zergs. But I am very excited about this Protoss versus Protoss series. I promise you guys it's about to get pretty hectic in this game, or perhaps the next game. I don't want to spoil how many games there are, of course. But yeah, Socke and Killer, both very, very good. Socke, of course, hailing from the Eurozone, which I guess it won't be the Eurozone any longer based on today's economy, but he's certainly hailing from Europe and a very accomplished Protoss player at that. He's been playing since, I don't know, he's been playing since the beta. I'm sure he played Starcraft Brood War or Warcraft 3 quite at a high level as well, but I remember casting tons of games of Socke. I have probably over 10 games of him on my channel alone. He's just that damn good. But yeah, he's on ATN still, which is also known as alternate attacks. And he's going to be the blue Protoss player at the top left here of Shakuras Plateau. Big map, but of course everyone knows the terrain and the map don't really matter too much in Protoss versus Protoss. The one thing that does matter in Protoss versus Protoss is whether or not there's a ramp. And the reason why I say that is because if there's a ramp, then a Protoss player is more inclined to, or not more inclined to, but has more of a defensive capability with a force field. So they are able to tech up on one base a little bit easier, and they're not so pushed into playing a 4-gate strategy because, of course, the force field can hold off 4-gate somewhat easily. Also on this map, you can grab your Nexus. This is actually the only map in PvP where it's somewhat possible to grab a Nexus at the natural. I'm not going to say that it is possible because it's still very risky, but it's definitely an option for one of these players. And we'll have to see if they decide to do that. We already have Symbol here. Man, I keep calling this guy Symbol. Killer. TSL Killer here, going for an Assimilator steal on Socke. Kind of interesting. And it looks like Killer, you know, he did invest into both his Assimilators. So Killer here looking to get that tech going right away. Whether or not that's into quick sentries or something else remains to be seen, but he's certainly going to be limiting Socke's gas intake for some time, and that first Zealot is going to have to send on over to that Assimilator and start working that thing down. Now, a lot of times when you limit that gas for a Protoss player in PvP, that certainly does compel them into playing more of a 4-gate strategy with more of an orientation on Zealots and Stalkers and less on sentries and tech. So we'll see if Socke tailors his playstyle around the single gas. He is certainly working it down right now with the Zealot and a Stalker. Killer even stole one gas permanently here. That's pretty gangster of him to do. But he did steal one of the gases permanently. Looks like that Assimilator will eventually go down 2,496 rather than 3,000. So kind of interesting. But doesn't look like Socke's going to take that gas. So he is going to go into a 3-gate here. And his probe, oh my god, it's making its way down to the natural. Is he really going to fast expand again? Now, there is a probe out here. It sees the probe. That's a telltale sign that Socke is planning to go for a fast expo. And is Socke going to continue with it? He's already saved up 350. He's going to throw down a pylon. I am almost certain at this point he's going for a 3-gate expand. Very risky to expand in Protoss versus Protoss, but like I said, this map does help you a little bit in that regard because it's so closed off at the natural. Now, what is Killer's response? He's got a Twilight Council on the way, so he's going to go straight for that tech here. And of course, he knows that Socke's technology, in terms of, you know, how much gas he's gotten and how high on that tech tree he is much lower in comparison. And what is Killer going to do? He's going to go straight for Dark Templar. Very intelligent play right here. Stole the gas, knows that Socke might not have detection, and what is a play here that could do a lot of damage? Dark Templars. And he's going to go right for it, guys. Is Socke going to be prepared for this? Socke is pushing out across the middle of the map, and oh my god, he's building a forge! Wow, Socke's totally in tune to this. I guess Socke thinking on the next level here, realizing, okay, I got my gas stolen. Killer could think that I won't have an observer, so I should probably just get a forge in case he's going for Dark Templar. And it may end up paying off if he can get a cannon up in time. It depends if he's paying attention. He's right now focusing on this little attack he's making. Isn't going to be able to kill that Zealot though, and he's going to have to pull back. But is he going to get a cannon at the front? We all have to wait and see, because that could make or break his game right here. The Forge is ready, but there is no cannon up. And of course, the Dark Shrine is just moments away from finishing. He can warp him down to the low ground right here. And oh my god, Killer here gearing up for the Dark Templars. The Dark Shrine is just moments away from finishing, and there is a Photon Cannon coming up for Socke. So Socke, super intelligent here. And he only really needs one cannon, maybe one more over here. I don't know. I don't think the Dark Templar can sneak on by, so that's a lot of Stalkers to sneak through. So this Dark Templar play could just get shut down in a second. These guys are about to run into a wall, and they're unfortunately, no matter how hard they try, no matter how cool or how hidden they are and how cloaked they are not going to get by that Photon Cannon. And down they go, just one. So Killer realizing, okay, there's a Photon Cannon. They're going to try to poke in once again. And of course now Socke is like, oh my god, thank god I built the Photon Cannon. What a lifesaver. So Killer here for now is just going to, I guess he's just going to use the Dark Templars for map control. Did he get a scout on the Nexus? No, he did not. But he's just going to assume that there is a Nexus coming up because of course there's a cannon there. And of course now Killer's playing the catch up, going into a Nexus of his own. Wow, that was rough. That was rough for Killer. Completely shut down his build order was, and now he's the one who's at a huge deficit. Remember guys, I was saying Protoss versus Protoss, it's a hard matchup to get your Nexus down on, to get that natural on. But if you get it, imagine the rewards. I mean, you're going to have double the amount of gas if you want. You're going to have much more chrono boost, which is super important as well. It's really a big help for a Protoss player in this mirror matchup. So I'm sure Socke right now is counting his blessings, and no doubt he is going to be moving out with the Force in a couple of seconds. And I don't know if Killer's going to be able to deal with it. I mean, he is a Korean pro gamer. He is on Team TSL. But I don't know if Team SCV Life Killer is going to be able to hold this off. We'll just have to see. He is going for the Nexus, and he is starting to rebuild. I would imagine he's going to get an Immortal after the Observer as well, because he saw how many Stalkers were on the field for Socke. Immortals will certainly be very helpful, but right now, if we look at the income tab, behind is Killer. The Army tab and the Units tab showing that he is also behind in those departments as well. Not good. And his Units loss tab is showing that he has taken more of a substantial loss in this matchup. Of course, a lot of that occurring from the Dark Templar. Man, Socke is certainly in a favorable position right now, and he's going to get a third warp gate up. Excuse me, that is a fourth warp gate. And he's got a robotics facility of his own, getting an observer. Both players actually getting cross-scouting observers right now, trying to figure out what their opponent is up to. So for now, a lull in the action, which isn't too common in Protoss versus Protoss. Protoss versus Protoss and ZVZ, Zerg versus Zerg, is known to be, you know, a high octane matchup. A lot of action occurs. So very interesting lull right now. I guess for once you have a Protoss versus Protoss game where both players have grabbed their natural, and because of that, they have such a large economy and such a large amount of units that it's really not advantageous to push out. Rather try to out macro your opponent, and we have a divergence in builds here. Socke gonna be going for what seems to be Charge Lot Archon. He's researching Charge. The Observer's gonna get a full beat on that, and Killer is going for Colossi. So we have a straight up difference in tech route here. Now the thing is, Colossi will take a little bit longer to get out than the Charge Out Archon build. So Socke, I think, is going to have an opportunity here to make a push with his Archons and the charge ability before the Colossus, before the extended thermal lance comes into play. And Killer, I mean, both players have beads on each other. They're basically playing with map packs on right now. They know what their opponent's got. And with that, Killer's got to know that that impending attack with Charge Outs and Archons is coming very, very soon. So he's cycling in units right now, but he's woefully behind in upgrades. I don't know, man, he might have a Colossus out on the field, but not with extended thermal lance. And Socke now is beginning to make the push. He's not moving his melee units, so kind of interesting. Actually has a pylon going down south right now. And a Dark Templar controlling the Zanaga Tower on the south, but Socke is not pushing here, and I feel that may be a bit of a mistake. The longer he waits, the more Colossi and it possibly extended thermal lance is something he's going to have to deal with. Finally, Socke decided to push out across the map. He did just finish charge, so maybe he was just waiting for charge. But he is starting to erect those pylons in the middle of the map as well. And he's got great map control at this moment in time. Only one Colossus on the field, and that may be the only Colossus that Killer's going to have to deal with this. He also has a Dark Templar, but that guy's going to get popped off by the Observer. And Socke gearing up to make this attack happen. Killer is in a lot of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if he's going to be able to hold here. A lot of pylons coming up, so Socke may even be able to warp right up to the high ground. Colossus in the fight, getting targeted by the Stalkers. Killer not pulling the Colossus back. There's the pull back from the Colossus. It's about to get exerted at the Relance, but it may not be enough. The Stalkers blinking forward, being very aggressive, pop up that Colossi, and the Archons in the back are just wailing away. Actually, maybe it's just one Archon, because their range is kind of limited. But oh my god, Socke is just barreling through the front door here. The next Colossi coming into play, Colossus. Killer, though, is probably going to lose this guy because the Stalkers will almost certainly blink forward. Colossus running back now. Charge lots, or maybe just normal Zealots coming in to defend that Colossus, but that guy is going to get picked off as well. The probes, meanwhile, getting ravaged, and Killer calls the good game. Very decisive decision-making from Socke, and for the first time there, that expansion from him actually works out beautifully. A really risky strategy in Protoss versus Protoss, but once you get it going, you are certain to take the lead, and that definitely paid dividends for Socke. So we're going to move on to Game 3 here, guys, and this is the game I've been waiting for. I know Game 3 is a blast to cast, so I hope you guys are ready and waiting, because we're going to have Game 3 of Socke and Killer coming up next.